Okay, so let's get to creating our color wheel. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to grab my bowl. And this is a bowl that I just got out of my kitchen. Doesn't have to be a porcelain bowl, just you want a nice large circle. So roughly about this size. It can be a little bit bigger, but you probably don't want to go smaller. Now I'm going to circle around and just trace the shape of my bowl. You can go a couple times just to make sure that that circle is really dark. Nice. Okay. So now I'm going to take my straight edge, which is a ruler. And if you don't have a ruler, you can always use paper. I'll show you how to do that in a second. Oops, I just broke my pencil. Okay. Since I got a line down the center of my circle, I'm going to do another line. I'm going to do about 6. So this is a straight edge, an example of using one that is not a ruler. It can be another piece of paper, it can be a book, just something that has a nice straight edge that you can follow along. So I'm going to go back to my ruler just because it's a little, I've got this tool, so I'm going to use it. But again, you can use a straight edge from a book, you can use it from paper, anything really. So now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I need 12 pie slices. So now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I might do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which means I gotta do one more over here. And again, if your pie slices are not all equally the same size, that's actually okay. I think ideally you would like them to be the same size, but okay. So now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There we go. So we did 6 lines to create 12 pieces. Now each of these pieces is going to be a separate color. So starting in our upper right corner, we are going to do red. So think about the color red and about what it makes you feel. And in here, we're going to start kind of coloring in or writing in what we think when we think of red. So it can be images, it can be words, it can be scribbles, anything, but you do want to have colors on hand to be able to color in each of these. If it's colored pencils, if it's crayons, paint, anything like that. If you do not have those things, then you can always grab a magazine or something that you have laying around the house that you can cut up, and if you have a glue stick, then you can glue in those separate pieces. So starting with the color red, you can even write down the word if that helps with kind of getting some ideas. So for me, I'm going to write the name of the color. And you can draw different things in here. I'm using colored pencils and watercolor. Again, if you want to use crayons, whatever coloring things you have. And I'm actually going to do just things that I think of when I think of the color red. So for me, I tend to think about kind of clouds and roses, and particularly the missing and murdered Indigenous women movement, because that is something that is very close to my heart, and that is red is the signature color. So I might do something like that. Like I said, I think of roses, so I can always draw roses and things. And again, this is what comes to mind when you think of these colors. So obviously, if you have a different idea than mine, like roses and things don't come to mind, if even negative emotions come to mind, if you think of like anger or stress, anxiety, this is the time that you can draw it out and kind of color it and just get it out on paper. And sometimes you'd be amazed how our stress and sadness and stuff creates some really beautiful pieces of art sometimes. And then, sometimes it also creates some kind of crazy or creepy looking pieces of art. But there's no wrong here. Basically, whatever you feel like drawing in these little pie slices, that's totally up to you. So each of these is just going to be based on the color that you feel. And the sign for missing and murdered Indigenous women is the handprint. It's a red handprint, so I'm going to be putting those around here. Got my roses. Again, if you want to add words or scribbles or things that represent the color for you, that's exactly what this is for. And it's okay if you come over a little bit like that. That actually can make a pretty cool effect. I'm gonna do lines like this because I also think of blush when I think of red. I think of love and passion and things like that. So my roses and my blush. For me, surprisingly, I actually don't really think about anger when I think about red, but I know for some people it's a color that invokes anger, and then it also is a color that does invoke appetite. So if you notice, in marketing, people use a lot of red in like McDonald's and in some of the restaurants because it actually is a color that makes you hungry. So, for a little color theory marketing tidbit. Alright, now we are going to count 3 down and go to yellow. So, 1, 2, 3. Right here is where we are going to put our yellow. So again, if I want to put my color, I can write out yellow, and I'm going to do the things that make me think of yellow. So for me, I think of sunshine and happiness, and it is also a sacred color, as is red. For my tribe, so I'm Chichangu, Lakota, and Cherokee, so for us, yellow is one of the colors of the 4 directions. So that's one of the things that I think of. Think of the sun, and actually summer, so I'm going to do bubbles and stuff. And also think of daisies. And I also think it's a good idea to spend more time on these, so I'm going pretty quickly just to kind of give an idea of what the lesson is, but I would probably spend more time if it was just me doing this instead of showing as a demonstration. I could go into more depth on what each of my little pie slices look like and really make it a piece of art. So the more time that you spend on it, the more it's going to be a really cool looking thing when we're done. So keep that in mind. When you're watching this video, you don't need to move as quickly as I do. I also tend to move fast whenever I'm working on things. I have been working on stuff for a really long time. I've been drawing since I could hold a pencil, so. Alright. Now we are gonna do blue. So I'm gonna count 3 over again. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna do my blue right here. So I'm gonna grab a blue colored pencil. And I'm gonna put my word. And for blue, what I think about is actually, I think of tears and rain clouds, but I love the rain, so I might do I also think of the ocean and water. And one of the things I'll probably do at the end of my color wheel is I'm actually going to go back in with a white to highlight some of the things, like my daisies and maybe some of my raindrops. But that's the kind of extra art element that I mentioned about spending more time on this. My blue, I'm going to do 1 over, I'm going to do purple. So now I'm going to do things that come to mind when I think of the color purple. Alright, so now I'm going to move to combining my primary and my secondary color. So here is where I'm going to have red-orange. And when I think of red-orange, I think of kitchen, surprisingly. So I kind of think of food and everything. So I'm just going to do shapes. And that's fine if you can't think of what to draw. These are just like your expressions. So, and you can make them kind of merge like I'm doing right here. I'm just going to make them blend in together. I kind of like the idea of them joining. One little watercolor tip: if you feel like you got too much water on there, you can always take a cloth or a paper towel and kind of blot some of that color away. And I might go back in and color and draw some things in there. Now, the next one is going to be a yellow-orange. So I'm going to take my yellow and probably put it down. And again, I like the idea of my color wheel blending. And did too much color again. So again, I'm going to take that cloth. I'm going to lighten it up a little bit. And sometimes having the color down first helps you figure out what your emotion's going to be. So the way I'm doing it right now is I'm going to put these colors down first, and then I'm going to go back and draw what I'm feeling or what I'm thinking when I look at these colors. So this part right here is going to be a spring green, like a yellow green. I think of grass, so that's kind of why I decided to start adding some of my grass in there. Too much paint. So again, I grab my cloth. Alright. Now my next one is a blue-green. So actually it might be that one. Yeah, it's kind of like a teal green color. And I definitely think of the ocean when it comes to that, so I might make it so that they overlap. Darken my clouds a little bit more in my blue. I found that other blue that I liked. Alright, so I'm going to add some more detail in here. I'm going to go in with the materials that I have, which is the pens and pencils and stuff. I am an artist by trade, so I do have a lot of these things, but again, whatever you have that's accessible to you, you can draw with that. Each of these is kind of just about your own self-expression, so it's okay if you don't have the same stuff that I do, and it's great if yours comes out looking totally different than mine. So what I'm doing here is I'm just adding some white onto my blues because I think of the ocean. I think of waves when it comes to teal blues and everything. So you can get pretty abstract with these. You don't have to have fully drawn out images. It's great if you do. It's totally up to you. So Alright, and there I have my color wheel with my emotions and kind of my thoughts on what those colors bring up. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and check out all the other great videos and things that Think 360's got, and I hope to see you guys soon. Thanks.